The north coast of France, the land and sea of the huge tides and crazy currents. We have about 70 miles to cover to get to the Seven Sisters Island group, which will be our final destination in the Brittany region of France. And it will also serve as a good hopping off spot, departing the EU to get to the island of Jersey, one of the famous Channel Islands. After we depart Ouessant, we'll make 2 additional stops before arriving at the Seven Sisters. Ready? Let's go!
Hello, Karen and Tom welcoming you to our Life 4.0, where we explore this amazing planet one anchorage at a time.
This video is part of a series where we start from the northwest corner of Spain and go all the way up to the Swedish and Finnish archipelagos in the Baltic Sea.
We are coming into the entrance of La Abaraque and wanted to show you what it's like here along the North Brittany coast. Tons of navigation aids because there's lots of rocks, and it's just very, very tricky navigating here. You have to really be concentrating a lot, looking down at the chart plot, looking around. So you can see rocks all over there. Big lighthouse there that we'll be going around early tomorrow morning. So we're going to be coming out of here at first light, like 6:30. So we're trying to become very familiar with what it looks like. You can see rocks over there and something shallow that's, well, you can see a rock surface in there, but there's other shallow obstacles just below the surface. We're coming here just after low, trying to hit it at roughly slack water in the marina down here, and that way we don't have to contend with a lot of current. It's kind of a double-edged sword with coming at low tide. You get to see where the shallow areas are. If we're going to anchor or whatever, you can motor around and know that, okay, what you're looking at on the depth sounder is going to be the lowest it's going to get. You can see any areas that would not be obvious that are shallow because they're showing at low tide. But the other problem with that is that you have a greater chance of running aground, especially in this area where there's 7 or 8 meter tides. A whole bunch of markers guiding us in here to La Abaraque. Oh, we got a red day marker there and a nice big cardinal buoy. Inside over there, if you want to be daring, is another marker. We won't be doing that coming out. We're at about low tide, so it would seem like quite a few of these. Like this one over here, I'm assuming that white part at the top shows at high tide. A lot of these would be underwater, lurking there, getting ready to surprise you. And we got a lot of shallow, rocky stuff over here on the starboard side. Karen's being good about navigating through here, watchful eye. And up inside there, somewhere, actually I can see it, there's a marina down there now. That's where we're going. Probably pick up a mooring, or if it works out okay, we'll drop our anchor and call it a day. We are in the town of La Abaraque, and it's a cute little small little restaurant area and cafe. You can see how in the main summer season they'd be bustling with people. Beautiful spot.
Refer to this as the Bay de Angus, after this abbey, Notre Dame de Angus. Yeah, I don't know how old it is, but Tom's doing a little research over there. We'll figure it out.
A couple hours earlier, it was low tide, and this entire bay was dry. Here's the chart. The green areas are mudflats or dry ground at low tide. Back on Sea Rose, we enjoy what has become a typical French dinner for us.
So we're at La Abaraque, the town. This is the marina right over here. And the sun is setting. It's beautiful. The pink color is coming all the way out onto the water, and it's just gorgeous. And this lighthouse just started turning on. It is 10 o'clock at night. So we're clearly moving further north and having the nice long days. But just look at that sunset. It's gorgeous. Very pretty.
With just a few days left in France, we set off at first light for Roscoff, a large commercial area with a massive ferry terminal where we can hopefully check out of the EU.
All right, this buoy, this cardinal mark here marks the beginning of the canal, the Ile de Batz canal, and fraught with risks to boaters. We're coming in a high tide, so it can give the illusion of lots of water through here, but there are lots of places here where it dries up completely into a tiny, skinny, narrow passage. We've got about 8 meters height above mean low water in this area. Very beautiful, a lot of green. We had some rain this morning, so that will explain all the green. But we're on our toes here, being very careful. We've got a route plotted on the chart plotter through here, and just a lot of stuff like these rocks that are showing only they belie the real risk down below. If you were to try to do this during low tide, this would be very, very tough. So it's just like a mile or two through here, and then we come around the corner and we come into our marina and celebrate our success, hopefully, through here. How's the heart rate, Skipper?
Better. That was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Happy to go through at high tide.
Yeah, not something to do at low tide.
No. Cool though, it was really pretty. And well marked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went over some places that we would have been aground at low tide.
Yes.
But we survived.
This is sort of mid-tide. Well, it's almost toward low. Another hour before low. So we definitely couldn't go through now. But it's pretty amazing how different it can look with such a huge tide. Today's tide, it's really close to spring. A couple days ago was spring tide. So today's tide is 8 meters difference. So it's pretty incredible. That's the old port of Roscoff. You can tell, see all the boats are dried out. So all kinds of different boats. There's this one. It has sort of stilts on the side of it. I don't know if those are kept on the whole time they're out sailing or what.
This is another part of the harbor of Roscoff, and you can see this one fishing boat is dried up completely.
tightly against the quay there, and a lot of space for more of them with all the rubber tires. We think we saw this fishing boat going out when we were first going through the passage, Ile de Batz passage. So this is the walkway out to the ferry, and at least when it's low tide like it is now, you walk way out here to a ramp that goes down the water and get on board the ferry.
Go over to Ile de Batz.
We go over to the island of Ile de Batz out there. We're going to try that tomorrow.
A beautiful hilltop chapel on the water's edge. Back at the marina, we watch a group of search and rescue trainees who worked far into the evening all weekend.
Here's Sea Rose at the Roscoff Marina. It feels a little bit like you're down in the dungeon here. It's an hour after low, so we're not even as low as normally it would be. And yeah, it's just pretty wild how far up there the top of this pier goes. And 6 hours or 5 hours from now, we'll be at high water. All right, we're back in the harbor of Roscoff at almost high tide. It's a little bit after high tide, and the harbor looks like a proper boating harbor with mooring balls and boats floating compared to yesterday. It's quite nice. All this was dry. It was definitely dry out to the end of that pier there, where there was a fishing boat. All dried up. There's a nice old sailboat there, and it looks quite lovely. Which should all dry out here in about 4 hours.
Walking into the village on Ile de Batz after hopping off the ferry.
And there's tons of agriculture on this island, which is really interesting to us. We just didn't expect it. There's also a fair number of people who live here, so that's great. Talk about farm to table.
It's kind of typical Brittany. We've got a creperie and we've got a lighthouse and walkers. All the components of Brittany.
Tom takes a drone flight out to the start of the narrow channel between Ile de Batz and the mainland of France. You can see some of the rocky obstacles off to the right.
We are on the Ile de Batz off of Roscoff, and on the map we were promised a place called La Roque. I think we have found it. The one most prominent rock on the shore. Shall we conquer the rock? We have conquered the rock. Nice view from up here. And a beautiful day.
Back on the mainland, we head to the Old Port.
Our first summer festival.
Good start, Jack.
Yeah. It's the Onion Festival in Roscoff, France. We had to find out the history of the Onion Festival. Here it is. The Brittany area has long been a grower of very popular onions. As you've probably noticed, there is a lot of agriculture throughout this whole region. Each year, as the onion harvest hit full swing, men would tie strings of onions to their bikes and hop on the ferry to Britain, selling the onions door to door. They were known as Onion Johnnies, and they were a total thing. Today, towns all over Brittany celebrate this history with Onion Jack festivals, like this one that we're at.
Here we are at the Onion Festival. We put our breadcrumbs and our cheese on it. And this gentleman's going to get us some vin blanc, hopefully.
Tom heads out for a run while we wait for the immigration office to open at the ferry terminal.
Quite often we find, especially here in Brittany, but other places in France and Spain, when you're following a road, either walking or running, it'll come to a dead end and you think, okay, well that's it. But more often than not, there's a walking path that extends beyond that road. They just have walking paths all over the place and it's really wonderful. You'll see dead end signs like this and a road up here that stops, goes up to 2 houses, but I'll show you that that's not really the case. So, no places for cars, but a path that probably leads over to another road or other paths through here. So they really promote and encourage, or maybe it's just individual property owners allowing it to be done, to have these walking paths through the fields. And it's so good for your own health to have all these options that are away from the road, away from the risk of cars, away from the noise, the pollution, and good for running. And indeed, the path curves around here and joins it with a paved road. So there you go.
After we officially check out of France, and therefore the EU, we head toward the Seven Sisters Island group and anchor off Ile Bono, which is a sanctuary for seabirds, and going ashore is prohibited. And we're not supposed to go ashore on French soil anyway, since we've already cleared out of immigration. We were serenaded all evening by this huge variety of bird life. We would love it if you gave our video a like. It's a huge help for us. And subscribe to our channel to see more of our sailing adventures. It's hard to believe that we landed on Belle Isle, France just 3 weeks ago today, and that we are now moving on from our exploration of the incredible sailing region of France known as Brittany. This episode, plus our previous 7 videos, cover our time here, so be sure to watch them all so that you can really soak in the beauty and uniqueness of this area. Join us next time as we dance with even stronger currents on our visit to the famous Channel Islands between France and Brittany. Thanks for watching.
It's forever and never again. I like this coastline and its fragrant flowers and the offshore swells that kept us up for hours. And I like the strong winds that rock us close. Whole world around is changing like two smiling